What is up, YouTube? I'm back, and as you can see here, I got a couple of books. These are not all of the books that I've read, but just the books that I've read that were on this shelf here since you've last seen me. So I'm just going to do a quick review on these. It's not going to be, well, maybe a 10-minute video, but I'm not going to spend 10 minutes on each book. Salem's Lot we'll start with, because it's the oldest one in this stack. Definitely, if you're a King fan, you need to read this book, because this place is in a lot of other books. It's in this book and this book, which are both collections of stories, but Salem's Lot happens to be in a lot of his stories. So, it's necessary that you read this at some point. Yep, I'm not going to spoil it. If you don't know what it's about, I'm not going to tell you what it's about. Really short book by Stephen King, The Girl Who Loved Tom Gordon. Stephen King, if you don't know, is a huge baseball fan, huge Red Sox fan. Tom Gordon's a baseball player. I like baseball. It's fun. But not a big Red Sox fan, but it didn't distract from the story. Really cool story about a girl that gets lost in the woods and basically have her faith in her favorite baseball player, Tom Gordon, saved her in the end from something that's chasing her in the woods. Or is it all in her head? Duma Key. This is a fabulous book. One of my... It's such an unsung hero. I love this book. It's about a dude that gets ran over by, like, a big machinery, like backhoe or whatever. Legs are crushed and all that, but he's starting to, like, walk it off. But he moves to Florida, into Big Pink, which is this little house here, and tries to rehabilitate himself. But there's a sinister story that takes place on the island that he moved to. I think it's one of the Keys. Loved it. Used to live in Florida, so it was very nostalgic for me to read about Florida and the weather and all that. I miss Florida. Everything's Eventual. Great book. 14 different stories. Everything's Eventual story that's in here. Everything's Eventual is one of the name is the title of one of the stories in the collection of stories, and it's about Dinky Earnshaw, who is in the Dark Tower. So Dark Tower stuff in here. Some other like really famous short stories that he's written. Autopsy Room 4. That one's creepy. The Little Sisters of Illyria, that's in here. That's also Stephen King, of course it is. That's Dark Tower. The Road Virus Heads North. I've heard of that one before I read this. Really cool. 1408. There's a movie about 1408. Yeah, I mean it's a good short. And this is, I can't remember if this is the first one, but this is the second short story collection that I've read. The Night Shift was the first short story collection that I read, and I was just like, whoa, what is this world of short stories? And I really got into it, and I plan on reading all of them. Obviously, I plan on reading all of his work, but I wanted to jump into this one because it had Dark Tower stuff in it that I've wanted to read for a long time, but just never got around to reading short story books. So I read Night Shift, which I believe is his first short story book collection, or Four Seasons. I read Four Seasons as well. Whatever. But that's why, because there's two Dark Tower stories in here. Bag of Bones. I really liked this book. I would give this one a 9 out of 10. This is some of King at his best. It says a haunted love story on the back, and that's exactly what it is. And if you have friends who want to get into Stephen King, but they don't like It or The Stand or whatever, they're like, oh, you know, I want to read some Stephen King, I would suggest send them this way, Bag of Bones, because it's a horror story, but it's not like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna go home and cry inside myself. No, but it's good writing. The Regulators by Richard Bachman. Oh no, I really like how on the back, this is Regulators. On the back of the Regulators, you see a little, can't focus it. Whatever. There's a little like burning hole, and it's the front cover of Desperation. Read both of them. Regulators was okay. I mean, I liked the whole idea, what he was going for with the 2 books, but Desperation was a lot better, in my opinion. A lot better of a story. And I read Desperation first and then picked up Regulators. And I don't know if I would feel the same way if it happened the other way around, but Regulators is about a little boy, like TV Mike from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka, whatever you want to call it. He reminds me of TV Mike, but it's a cool little story about a kid who has supernatural powers or whatever, who is haunted. And then, same thing on here, it's got the Regulators on the back there. Desperation's about some people who get kidnapped while they're driving through a town. The town's a ghost town, and like murder and like good king stuff here. Both of these books are, well, specifically Desperation is very theological work. There's a lot of like people who dig into the theology of Stephen King, and you get a lot of that from reading Desperation, if that's something that you're interested in. Not. Hey, little tiny one, Blockade Billy, fun little baseball story about Blockade Billy, who's a catcher. I won't spoil it, but I mean, it's not even 100 pages. Okay, it's 130 pages, but whatever. Heart-Shaped Box, Joe Hill, about a metal rock icon who buys a box that is, who buys a suit from some girl who says it's haunted. He starts getting haunted by a ghost, chase him down. Not gonna spoil it. This is Joe Hill at his best. I also read Nosferatu. That one I really loved. Some people like this one more. I was a bigger fan of Nosferatu. Really excited about his new book coming out like next month. Can't wait for that. But yeah, Heart-Shaped Box is definitely one that you need to read. If you like my lists and my suggestions, go for this one. Those are just quick overview of some of the books that I've read in the recent 9 months. There's a load more, but I didn't have them on this shelf, and I'm just doing some quick videos right here. There's some that I want to do some more in-depth reviews on, and if there's any of those that you want, like, you know, more in-depth review, just let me know, and I'll do a whole episode on like, who am I? Seasons and episodes. I'll do a whole video on just that one book, if you're interested in that. But like I said, Justin Cronin's trilogy, I'll do a follow-up video with the 2 books in it, and it'll be a decently long video because I have a lot to say about that. That's pretty much a large majority of what I've read outside of the 3 or 4 Harry Potters that I've read, and a couple of other things here or there. Oh, I read another Jim Butcher novel. Pretty good. I like those. And Pet Sematary, and yeah, I've read some more Stephen King. I just don't own them. The library is your best friend when it comes to doing these kinds of things. But I got a blinking battery light. It's right here on my screen. So I'll get out of here, and I'll let you guys get back to your YouTube surfing or back to reading your books. So until next time, back to the book.